So we're going to be taking a look at a local service-based business I was able to scale from $10,000 a month all the way to $100,000 a month. I'm going to break down everything from the meta ad strategy, the ads themselves, and basically every detail that you would need to know in order to scale your local service-based business utilizing nothing but meta ads. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Just to kind of give you guys some proof. So my client, they spent just under $10,000 in this campaign on ads. We're seeing roughly around a $50 cost per lead. It was a little bit more expensive than usual, but that's just because it is a more expensive product. Most of the painting projects that we had ranged anywhere between $2,500 all the way up to $10,000 on this. Scheduled quotes was roughly around 132, 41 closes. The close rate was really good. Their team was really good at closing deals. And then top line revenue, we closed $137,000. And basically what we were looking at revenue wise was roughly $3,300. Just to look at the ads manager, as you can see here, we spent just sub $10,000. And like I said, I'll break down specifically the campaign structure here in a little bit. So how did we do this? Pretty simple. So I utilize a 3-step framework with every single service-based businesses that I work with, and that being the Instagram funnel, the meta ad campaign setup, which I'll show you exactly how we set those campaigns up, and then obviously there's a scaling mechanism into that as well too. But this is the exact same thing I would do if I owned a contracting company, a landscaping company, you name it. If you're a service-based business, this can work extremely well for you. So the Instagram funnel, we did not move any of their traffic off the Meta platform during this entire period. All of the traffic that we did get were directly coming from either the ads themselves or people that were following the page from the ads we were running or just the post that we were making. The best way to describe an Instagram funnel is you're utilizing your Instagram to sell the prospect with the content, the bio, and everything that's inside there. First thing I want to bring to your attention is the username SEO. So if you haven't done this with your service-based business yet, as you can see here, it says K&A Painting Ohio, PAVA Painting Company. The reason why it's so long instead of just having a K&A Painting is because for people that are going into the search bar for Painting Ohio, say if you were living in Ohio, this company would come up just because they have Ohio inside of their actual name. What I would do is I would add a / line or a top line just like this. And then I would just have the locations that you service and then whatever your company does, especially if it's not in the name of the company. Next up is the bio optimization. Every one of your bios should look exactly like this, with the top one being where are you servicing? What do you specialize in? Especially if you're a painting company, sometimes they're interior or exterior. And then having some sort of keyword in regards to what action do you want people to take when they come to your page. If you're not, probably out of all of this, that's one of the most important things that you'll have on your Instagram page, and it takes you 5 seconds to actually implement that. But the DM keyword is extremely important. You can get an app like ManyChat in order to have automated DMs get sent out and book people into your calendar, or send a automatic quote, depending on they can put their information in, and then you can have an automatic quote get sent over to them when somebody comments the word paint. So we did optimize that, and then we did add their website in because there will be people that will come to this page, because you got to think, if people are looking, they're going to look at your content, they're going to look here at the bio, who do you service, maybe look at a couple of videos and then go to your website. There's a lot of things, but you want to try to make sure that you have everything there that somebody would need to know all at once. And then we did a short form overhaul. So they had little to no content on their Instagram page. I'll go over some of the examples of short form content you need to have on your page. But the short form content needs to be value-based, before and afters. You can be your business story, kind of just a plethora of those. And I would only focus on short form content because that would actually get more views and organic outreach versus just posting images. And you want to make sure that they're in 9:16, which is basically taking your phone in vertical format and filming those ads. So examples of the kind of content that you would want to have on your page, and this is just a handful of them. Obviously, you can have multiple types of other pieces of content, funny pieces of content, testimonials with clients. There's a multitude. These are the 3 big ones that I would recommend having specifically on that page. So this would be a value-based piece of content.
Before you hire a painter is the 3 most important questions you should ask before you hire a painter is, number 1, are they licensed and insured? So for obvious reasons, you want your painter to be licensed and insured.
So a value-based piece of content is helping out your ideal prospect with something that they may have questions with. Maybe they're looking to hire a painter. Maybe they want to do a painting project themselves. Answering those questions provides support and authority that you know what you're talking about inside the space. This is an awareness campaign. So awareness campaign, we're mainly focusing on spreading awareness of your guys' brand. So you're going to be mainly focusing in on calling out your direct ICP, the person that you're wanting to buy your stuff. Here we go.
Homeowners near Mahoning and Trumbull County. Painting projects for your home are a headache, whether it's finding the right color or buying the basic necessities.
So as you can see with this one, it's more focused as a top of funnel awareness driven ad because they're calling out the location of people that they want to target, Mahoning and Trumbull County, which is actually out in Ohio. So that is the direct ICP that they want to call out, the homeowners in that location. So this raises awareness to that page, and you can run this as a boosted ad, which we'll talk about here in a second. But this would be a great way to just get a bunch of people from those local areas to know about who you guys are, what you guys do, and get them to follow the page. Because once people follow the page, now you can consistently post and you can get in front of them. You can run retargeting ads to them. It's a great way to start warming people up to your services. A lot of service-based businesses I've worked with in the past have ran ads and they say they don't work, but really what it ends up coming down to is they just run an instant format and hope for the best, when in all reality, to get higher quality, better leads that are going to buy your expensive services, you need to warm them up to show that you are the guy to go to. And then you have what's called the before and afters. Whatever before and afters that you guys would do with a particular project, this would be a great way to show, like, I would film everything beforehand. Like I said, you could just use your phone. It's plenty good enough. But I would get a bunch of content of the before project and then get content of the after project. But this would be an example of a before and after.
Showing you guys the basement that we just finished. As you can see, a huge renovation took place here. All the way from all the exposed...
And the crazy part is, guys, is all of this was filmed with a phone. Everything was filmed with a phone. So do not think you have to hire a crazy film team in order to do this. You can simply do this with your phone.
Ceilings being painted tricorn black to all the walls being a white dove satin finish.
And the before and afters are great because it shows people what you all are capable of and the quality of work that you guys provide to every single one of your clients. But this would be examples of Instagram content. I would try to post on like a weekly to, if you could do it daily, that would be awesome. But I know you all are very, very busy. But the more content that you can put on your page where people can go through and actually take a look at it, the better. In addition, if you come to this page, you want to make sure you also have a text on each one of the videos, so that way people can see what's the concept of that video. If they want to see a before and after of a cabinet renovation, they can click on the cabinet. Maybe they want to see a full home interior. Let me take a look at that one. Do you all do interiors? You can answer like typical FAQs. That's a really good concept of an ad or a piece of content that you guys can create as well. Now going over to the meta campaign setup. In all of the campaigns that we run for local service-based businesses, I always like to run 3 specific campaigns. Campaign number 1 is going to be your awareness campaign. And this basically goes back to the ad that calls out Mahoning and Trumbull County, painting projects for your home are a headache, and then you go into why you guys are the solution. Basically, it calls out your audience, and all the focuses of this campaign is we're just trying to drive traffic to the page. That's it. We're not trying to get people to give instant forms. Really, the call to action at the very end of that ad is, hey, if you're interested in learning more about your next painting project, click the link below and give us a follow to learn more. And so what we're doing is we're just trying to get people into our funnel, because this is where the Instagram funnel really comes into play, where we start getting people onto the Instagram page. In all reality, if you look at their Instagram, they actually had 0 followers when we started on this account, and now they're up at 530 followers. And the cool part is about these followers is you can retarget these people. They're your traffic now. You can retarget these people anytime you're running an offer, a promo, a summer promo, whatever the case is, and you can go after these people. That's the reason why that awareness campaign is extremely important. And the cool part about an awareness campaign is it's a fraction of the cost of what you would pay for an instant form funnel, because there's just not as much competition. It's great. I always recommend running an awareness campaign at all times, just because it allows your ads to stay in front of people's faces so they never forget who you guys are. Once we ran the awareness campaign, usually I'll let that run for anywhere for like a week to 2 weeks. And anybody that follows you, I'd recommend sending them a DM. Hey, John, thank you so much for the follow. I see that you're out here in the local Mahoning area. What brings you to the page? Are you looking for a painting quote, or are you just here for the content? Something like that is great. That way you can actually book people in that are coming in just from the awareness campaign itself. Next is going to be campaign number 2, which is the top of funnel instant forms. With these instant forms, basically what they are is usually we're asking about 3 questions. Question number 1 is, are you wanting a painting project done? Yes or no. If they say yes, they go to the next question. If they say no, they just get pushed off the instant form. Question number 2 usually is a budget question. Question number 3 can be like a timing question. Are they an interior, maybe an exterior project? But I recommend having at least 3 questions with those instant forms. And the TOF basically means top of funnel. So these are going after new people. It's not a retargeting instant form. It is a top of funnel. So we have our awareness that's creating more people into our retargeting bucket. And then we have our top of funnel, which is going to get people to actually take action so we can start getting their phone numbers, their emails. And then what you're going to do is you're going to call these people up. Once that information comes in, call them up, I would say within 60 seconds to no more than 5 minutes. If you can do it within 60 seconds, that would be great. Call them up and just see, what's got them looking into painting or a landscaping project, and then you guys can go ahead and either book them for a quote or whatever the case may be after that. But for the ad set, what we want is we want to have 3 specific ad sets, and we want to make sure that we're staying within a radius that's respectable for your business. If you're a service-based business, you got to ask yourself, how far out would I be willing to drive, whether that be 25 miles, 50 miles. So just make sure you're setting your radius. We want to have a broad ad set where we're not targeting anybody. We just let Facebook target anybody that it wants to. We have a stacked interest, which are going to be a bunch of people. Maybe they're interested in Home Depot, Lowe's, homes, real estate, anything that has to do with the group of people you want to go after, that's going to be in the stacked interest. We're just going to stack those. For the lookalike audience, it's going to be people that basically look like the people that have been engaging with your Instagram or Facebook content. And then anybody that's visited your Instagram profile within the last 7 days, those are the people we want to start adding into the lookalike. So we're going to find people that look like the people that are already taking interest in your stuff. Then we're going to launch campaign 3. I would recommend waiting at least a couple weeks. I would run the awareness campaign for about a week. Then I would run the campaign 2. And I would always run all 3 of these in conjunction once you start them. I would never turn one of them off. But I would run this one for about 7 days, build up some awareness in the area, then launch campaign 2. Let this run for about 7 days, and then run campaign 3. So that way it's kind of like almost like a cycle of people entering your funnel and going through the motions and then getting hit with retargeting. And retargeting, what we want to go after is anybody that's visited your website in the last 30 days, especially if you have Google traffic and you're pushing people to your website with Google. It's really important to go after the traffic over the last 30 days. If you haven't installed a pixel onto your website, a Facebook pixel, I would very highly recommend installing that. Even though you're not pushing any Facebook traffic to your website, at least you have a pixel being able to pick up people's information that are going to your guys' website if you're ranking very high on Google. And then anybody that's submitted a form, opened up a form, I would recommend retargeting those people as well. So that way, if they didn't take action, or if they did take action but you weren't able to get a hold of them, they can enter that retargeting campaign. And obviously, each one of these are going to have different ads to it because people are at different portions of the funnel. Let's go and take a look at a couple of those ads. With these ads, these are kind of the examples of ads that you would want to be running. We have our testimonials, top of funnel ads, and then sales-based ads. So we'll start with a top of funnel ad. The top of funnel ad is the one that would go into the instant forms. It can also be the one that goes into the awareness. I would just change whatever your call to action is. If it's an instant form, I'd say fill out the form below to learn more. If it's for the awareness campaign, click the link below and give us a follow to learn more. That would be the only thing I would change, but everything would basically be the same in the top of funnel and the awareness campaign. But this would be an example of a top of funnel ad.
Homeowners in Western Pennsylvania and Northeast Ohio. Interior painting projects for your home could be a hassle. Whether it's protecting your floors or furniture, doing it perfect.
So as you can see, it's basically the same structure. Call out your audience, where are they located. You want to be, especially service-based businesses, you want to focus in on where you're located. If you just say, homeowners, are you looking for an interior painting project? It doesn't talk to anybody specifically. And a way that you can bypass that without actually saying homeowners in X location is have something behind you that would be noticeable to people. So for example, if I was running a painting company in the District of Columbia, so Washington, D.C., if I had the Washington Monument behind me, people would already know exactly that I service that metropolitan area of D.C. That would be a way of indirectly calling out people versus actually saying homeowners in X location. But this would be a top of funnel ad. Then we have our testimonial ad. Testimonial ads do extremely well in retargeting. So if you have a client that has literally would go to the ends of the earth for you, those are the people you want to do these testimonials with. And I would recommend doing it with the owner and the client in the video. So that way they can see you actually being there with a client. In fact, this one was one of the best performing ads that we ever ran. And once we turn on our retargeting campaign, after we let the top of funnel and awareness run for a little while, we turned this one on. This one generated about 20 leads within like a day or 2 days. It was insane.
Everybody, we're here in Camden, Ohio. I'm here with my client, Kelly. We just did an interior project for her. Kelly, what was your experience with K&A Painting?
I can't say enough great things about this company, everybody. I kid you not. From the minute Kareem walked in my door.
So you can see here, she's going in and just talking about how amazing her experience was. That would be a perfect example of what a testimonial ad should be. If you can't get out to the client, you can physically just have the client film one of them talking about it. Or another really good one is if you're the owner, just hold up a phone to a microphone and film with another phone. So that way you can call the prospect on the phone, be like, hey, what was the experience like? And then just have them speak into a speaker. That does extremely well as well. So that would allow you to have the flexibility instead of having to go out there and find the client as well. And then a sale-based ad. These are really great, especially if you do any sort of promos. I would always urge when you're to run a promo during summertime or any time that you have like slow seasons or even your like crazy seasons as well, to make it even more crazier, or in order to get some cash up front before the season starts. It's great to run a sale-based ad. This would be an example of what that sale-based ad, and I would recommend throwing this into not only your top of funnel, but your retargeting as well.
Would you like 20% off on your next interior painting project? Here at K&A Painting Plus, we're doing our annual holiday sale where we're giving up to 20% off any painting interior projects. All you have to do is click the link below, schedule your free estimate, but we're only doing this for the next 10 customers, so make sure you book now.
So as you can see there with the sale-based ad, he calls out the offer right away. Would you like 20% off your next painting project? Would you like 30% off your next landscaping project? Doesn't necessarily mean you have to give off the entire 30%. You can have up to 30% depending on however much it is, or you can just add on to your price and then just cut over it. But these would be examples of ads that I would run. And honestly, if you run just these 3 ads alone, you're going to do like 10 times better than probably your average local service-based business. I would recommend running a handful of ads with different takes, different angles, different hooks, different locations. Maybe people respond better with counties, like mentioning a county versus a city or a state. It can vary. And yeah, this would be the best way to scale up the ads specifically. Now going over into the scaling strategy. When it came to scaling, what you're going to find with as a local service-based business is you're very limited based upon the geographical location that you're in. Whether that be you're in a very small city, small state. My recommendation is increasing that service delivery radius, and that's what we did with K&A. We basically were able to get them to move out all the way to Virginia as well and service those locations. And it's very simple. You basically rinse and repeat the exact same strategy in that location, which is what we did. And so then you can start calling out, Virginia, X, Y, and Z. You can do the same thing with your Instagram profiles. You can have a profile based upon location. If you had a painting company, K&A Painting Ohio, K&A Painting Virginia, K&A Painting X. So that way you can have a profile, an Instagram profile that is directly sophisticated to that particular region. So that way you don't have any crossfire with any of your traffic. Outsourcing sales is a big piece because, as I mentioned, having that quick response time to those leads is so important. If you can have just somebody that their only job is to call up those leads as soon as a lead form comes in, 60 seconds, boom, they've already had a phone call. Two double dials, right, or a double dial and a text message. Making sure that you bring on some sort of sales team is extremely important. That's how we were really able to start hitting the scale, so that way the owner could get off the phone. And then in addition to that is the budgeting. So we scale up all of the budgets at 20% increments every 2 to 3 days, as long as we can maintain a CPL of less than $60 or whatever your cost per lead should technically be. And then also making sure you're taking a look at your frequency, because as I mentioned, in a local area, you're going to burn through your audience very quickly. When you start going over a frequency, and this is something simple you can do inside of Meta, is you can just set up a column that has frequency on it. It's a column breakdown. Anything above a 3 is you're kind of now getting into an area where you're starting to saturate your audience a little too much, and you're not necessarily going to be able to scale too much. Even if you scale your budget over and over and over again, what you're going to start finding is that cost per lead is really going to start skyrocketing. even if you try to get new creatives and whatnot, and you're going to burn through your creatives faster. You're going to need more creatives more often, but you're also going to notice that you're basically going to get tapped out. And that's why I recommend really kind of giving some thought of other locations you want to service. I would recommend utilizing these Facebook groups. If you go on Facebook, look in the search bar and say, for example, you're a painter, you can say Painter Austin, Texas. And if you go there, you'll find a bunch of subcontractors that are looking for work. And that if you wanted to, if you say, for example, you're in Maine and you want to service Austin, Texas, it would give you that flexibility to help another geographical location, especially if you have a manager in that area that can actually manage the crew. I would say it's extremely important because there's only so far that you can scale with meta ads in a location before you start kind of maxing out and hitting that frequency. But I mean, in all reality, especially if you have an area that has 1 million plus people in it, there's always going to be a demand for service-based anything. And the crazy part is with these guys, Meta used to make up 0% of their overall gross revenue, and it now makes up over 70% of their gross revenue comes from Meta ads now. And the cool part is because people see their ads over and over and over again in so many varieties, it's basically allowing people that had seen ads a year or 2 years ago now starting to take action now. And those leads are even more warmed up than anybody else. And they're like just giving the credit card to the company at that point. But if you can implement these small little changes and strategies into your local service-based business, it's going to be super easy to scale, especially if you have a service-based business that has a ticket price of $1,000 or more. Like, holy cow, like you can really, really scale up, and Meta can make it much, much easier to scale versus having to wait on Google ads and fight for SEO, which is just a long-term play. Meta ads, you can jump into the game and it's not that expensive in order to do. So if you guys have any questions, drop your comments below. That way I can answer any of your guys' questions. I also have my Lead Gen Experts course below. I go over this in even more detail. If you want the direct scripts and everything, I actually have that in there. So make sure, click the link below somewhere in the bio. It's in there. Give me a subscribe if you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel. I post consistently Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for you guys if you guys want any more information and whatnot. With that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.